Alright. Somehow this library has even more corners and nooks and shelves and books than I previously thought. And of course with absolutely no rhyme or reason to how the books are actually put on the shelves, because why would there be? Look at this. That is a book about botany next to 3 tomes of etymology. And then in that corner we have a manual for cobbling. Mira probably would have liked the step-by-step drawing book there. No. I'm just not. The good thing about a extremely unorganized library is that I will not so soon run out of things to do that will keep me from thinking about Mirasol or Mojave. I can just focus on this. I can focus on filing books and making a catalog and working on my research.
Hello.
What?
Is anyone Pietro?
No, I'm afraid.
Oh, so hello.
One moment.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting anyone.
You're scratching the
Hello?
floors.
Sorry.
Sorry. You're scratching the floors.
No, it's fine. I assure you, the floor will hold up to it.
I mean, if you're sure. It's a hazard anyway.
I mean, I built the floors. They're I feel like I should know how to walk on them.
I feel like that should just more raise your worry about scratching them. Sorry, you were.
I mean,
you said you were looking for Pietro?
Sorry, no, you.
Uh.
Yes, I was looking for Pietro. Sorry.
We have not met, but I am going to go on a whim and assume you are their brother who has been mysteriously missing.
Yes, Virgil, it's a pleasure.
Likewise. So
Am I
that's
to
your
take it
study
that
upstairs?
you are Elwood and have been. Sorry?
So that's your study
yes.
upstairs. And yes, I'm Elwood. Elwood
I
Kirchhoff.
suppose. It's wonderful to meet you. I've been told that you're living in the library.
Well, not anymore. I was. Let's see. The order of events. Lost my notebook somewhere. Crashed into the telescope. Was here. Was found by the colorful one and the inventor one. Was offered to stay in the room above the cafe. Your brother showed up. We built me a house. I no longer live here. That is the order of events.
I see. Yes. Well, welcome to the Peregrine Library. Yes, that is my study upstairs. Or it was. I haven't used it in a while.
Evidently.
Why? Okay. Well, yes. It wasn't exactly in the best condition when I
The entire place was not in the best condition, or is for that matter. Did you know that there's not a single alphabetization thing going on, not even in a single one of these shelves? I mean, I'm assuming you knew because your brother also knew.
I am vaguely aware that they're not currently organized in a particular way. We haven't really had the chance. We sort of ended up with far more books than we expected to.
Yes, that's why normally a library has one person specifically managing intake. That's kind of how.
I suppose we would have had that, but the intake was sort of happening before the library was finished construction, so there wasn't exactly extra hands to be intaking.
I see.
Um,
Does that also explain the dust and the worms and the blood around books? Do you know how hard it is to get blood out of leather?
The dust is quite nice. The dust and the worms speak to us. Okay, the dust bunnies are my friends, and they were invited here.
That actually explains a whole lot. That it doesn't explain the ostrich, but it explains a lot.
Yes, I wish I could explain the ostrich. Peter got very into raising hatchlings from eggs they found for a period of time, and the ostrich was sort of part of that. And okay, the blood wasn't exactly the blood isn't supposed to be there, but
you're no kidding. The blood is not supposed to be there. The only place blood is supposed to be is inside a person, and decidedly not around books in any other form than inside of a person.
Ideally, yes, that is how it would go.
Goodness.
It seems to be
Also,
around here. That's a lot less common than you would think.
That is a concerning statement. Also, you already went to the lengths of labeling this. You labeled it. And yet, there is a book in there, or was.
Yes.
I removed it. That was... It could not have been less children's literature.
Was it a book by the title of Bound by Ancient Magics?
Yes, that is the very one.
Okay, in my defense, that was not placed there. That was actually placed in a box to be sorted into its own section for more adult literature. And then it was loaned to Sylph, who was reading it last time I saw them.
Right, so I suppose that makes sense in some way, shape, or form.
That one, at least, is not on me. This was relatively organized in children's literature. I suppose the actual section itself was not alphabetized in a particular way, but we did have children's books in here. I think the it was sort of also taken by a rather egocentric peacock by the name of Gavrin, who borrowed a book, and I don't think has returned it. But honestly, they wrote... Sorry?
The Sewist?
Yes, that's they sort of wrote in it, and then
they what?
Took the book with them. Exactly. Yes.
Oh goodness.
It was a time.
Goodness.
We have an additional
I'm not surprised
copy.
that Mojave thought that they were lovely.
Oh, you've met Mojave.
More than met. We've known each other.
Oh, I see. I met them the other day. They seem agreeable.
Sure. Let's go with that.
I see. Yes. Yes. Let's go with that.
Also, this. I understand the value of a mind map, and I understand that you have to take down a mind map occasionally, but you have to actually take it down.
Does it look like I intentionally tried to take this down?
I don't know. This place is entirely
unorganized. There are claw marks in the walls.
How am I supposed to know if... I have literally just met you. How was I supposed to know if you didn't use this as an unconventional way of filing your talents?
Okay, I suppose that's somewhat fair. I will admit that the mind map was perhaps left in an unfortunate state before I left. But it was not me who tore it down or left it in that state, and I did sort of leave in a hurry. So...
I see. That explains it. It does not explain the... whatever this is. That...
I like to think of it as an experiment.
Yes, it is labeled as such.
You see this this geode sample over here is from a different source to this one up here. This is from a geode, like a naturally occurring one, whereas these grew out of the ground around an area which seemed to have an increase in magic. It's not important. I don't need to explain this.
No, it's interesting.
It's very safely conducted. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes, no, I was monitoring the magical conductivity of crystals. This one actually grew much faster. It's
That's interesting.
not important.
So you're also a sort of research inventory type then?
I suppose. I mean, in certain fields. I mean, I did this, and I made the telescope with Rune on the roof.
It is very sturdy. It holds up a person flying into it without even denting.
Did somebody fly into the
Yes,
telescope?
I did. In my defense, I was running on 2 days and 3 nights of not sleeping, which was not my wisest decision.
That is very fair. I can definitely relate to that. But I suppose speaking, I take it that you are quite passionate about the library organization.
Well, I'm passionate about books. I'm a mythologist, I suppose is the correct word.
I see.
I don't know if I get to claim that descriptor, considering we don't really have like academia as a field these days, but I research legends and stories, and I collect them, and I like books, and I have very strong feelings about books, and this is, I mean, I've taken a look at the stock, and you have some excellent works here. It's just, there's no catalog. There is no way of finding anything, which is a shame, because I don't think I've ever seen a place with this big of a variety of different books.
Yes, you are right. It is a bit of a shame.
Yes.
The whole place is very thrown together. I don't think Peter or I really expected it to become this large as quickly as it did. We sort of filled up very quickly, and there were more people here than we were expecting who were willing to donate books. But
that is fair.
yes.
Sorry, I may have come across as a bit harsh. I did actually hope that you would show up so I could ask like formal permission. I've already asked your brother. We've already talked about it, but I'm not going to go about a place and organize it myself, no matter how disheveled the state of it, without getting proper permission from all of the owners in question. But I offered my help setting up a catalog, figuring out alphabetization, sectioning sort of thing.
Well, I would appreciate that very much if you would be willing to help. I'm afraid I don't really know if we have the means to pay. Sorry?
I was going to say, honestly, at this point, it would be my pleasure. I have spent a few hours or a few hours more in here just looking at what was in stock, started making some lists, and there's a certain pain seeing a book whose author starts with A next to one that starts with M, next to one that starts with Z, next to one that starts with B. And they are not thematically fitting to each other in any way, shape, or form. So, at this point, other than me wanting to ask formal permission, there's very little that's gonna hold me back from doing something about it, as it were.
That is fair. Yes. Well, I appreciate you waiting for my permission. You certainly didn't need to do that at all.
No, I absolutely did. It is your place and your brother's, so I was going to ask both of yours permission. That's a rule. That's a rule. You're not going. You don't go about someone's space and reorganize it without actually being permitted to do so.
That's fair. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you.
Of course.
Were you sort of done lecturing me about the state of the library?
Well, apart from, I did mention that the floors are slipping hazard, yes?
The
mirror one.
Vaguely, you sort of mentioned that I was scratching it, and then yes, that
Well, it's
was
also a slipping hazard.
slippery.
There, that is all the things.
It
That is
is,
all the
but it looks
grievances.
nice. So it
does. I don't know if a person who
there's
might slip
potentially a
and
way we
break
could add.
a limb would be still interested in whether or not it looks pretty, but I concur.
That is fair, I think.
But yes, other than that, I am through the list, as it were.
I see. Well, I suppose now that we're sort of done with that, it is nice to meet you. You seem. It would be nice to have you around and help, I think.
Thank you.
I'm sorry if we don't really have the means to compensate you in any way with. We don't really have money to
That is
pay for an assistant in the library, but
that is absolutely
for a
fine.
cataloger.
Honestly, it would be my pleasure for one, and for another. Unlike Mojave, I don't particularly care about monetary value on things. That is not to say that they are more interested in monetary value than other things. It's just they and I have very different priorities, including when it comes to rules and libraries and apparently keeping promises. Sorry.
See, no, you're. It's all right. I know what you mean when it comes to knowing people with those slightly different priorities. It's Sorry, it's been a long few weeks for me personally.
That is
as you noticed, I was sort
and vaguely visible.
of gone. Yes, I was. Yes, I'm not looking my best at the moment.
Well, I'm the last person to pass judgment on how someone looks. I was mostly the eye bags are a strong indicator.
No, yeah, I assumed. But, I suppose I do need to try and get better sleep, but it's a little bit difficult bouncing between places at the moment.
Bouncing?
I am attempting to sort of move back into the house I share with Peter, but I have some places elsewhere at the moment. It's complicated.
I'm not going to ask. That seems to be between the two of you.
Yes, I would appreciate that, but thank you.
Of course.
I would perhaps be interested sometime if you are staying around the library to hear about some of the mythology that you said you would be collecting. It sounds interesting. It could potentially line up with some of the things that I've been researching myself.
Possibly. It's...
Although I suppose...
I've taken a look at, what was left of the mind map, and you were looking into magic things? It says sorceress and things.
Yes. Sort of the properties of magic for a while. Among other things.
I have heard some stories that might line up with this. There's something interesting between looking at legends of the old age and trying to figure out the true source. You know, the whole legends and myths go back to a spark of truth, and then story was woven around it, sort of like mother of pearl around a piece of sand. And that's sort of what I'm looking at.
It's a very beautiful way of putting it, I suppose. Yes. I agree. Perhaps, well, since I'm here, I was going to try this new cafe that's sort of attached to the library in my absence. Would you like to join me?
Sure. I will say,
I would feel
I don't know if the quote-unquote Zoom juice, I think, something around...
Zoom juice? Oh.
Sylph has referred to it in some way, and I haven't entirely retained it, but it was It makes you very
No,
fast.
that's fair. Sylph
And vaguely jittery.
Sylph can be a time to deal with. Hello. Sorry. I've not said hello to my birds before. Have you met them? This is...
I have not had the pleasure of... I'm not in the habit of talking to birds.
That's fair. Your ravens can talk back to you, actually. Well, some of them, if they choose to learn.
True. Yes, similar
English.
to some kinds of parrots. Some macaws are good at
Yes.
it. Starlings.
Yes, exactly.
Starlings that are not person-shaped are actually quite good mimics.
Fascinating. But,
They're also very loud.
yeah, sorry, I got distracted. What? Sorry? Sorry?
No, I just said starlings are also very loud. Starling birds.
Yes,
and before that, I think I was talking about how the coffee makes you very jittery. And Sylph
Yes, sorry.
Sylph
yes, I
and
got
Rune
distracted.
they seemed enthusiastic about it.
I think Sylph is enthusiastic about most things and probably should not be given too much coffee. That is, I admittedly am not a particular coffee drinker myself for that reason, that I get a little bit more jittery than I potentially need to be. But there's tea here, or hot chocolate if you would prefer one or the other.
Well, tea is agreeable.
Yeah, I can there. But it's, yes, I suppose I would feel bad sort of being down here if you were also building and not saying anything. It was nice to meet you once you were done pointing out my flaws in organization.
Yes, I've been told that I am a bit upfront about the everything. But it was nice meeting you as well.
Honestly, your upfrontness was probably justified. We haven't done the best job with a lot of it.
Well, there's always room to improvement that way if you want to look at it from that angle.
Yes, I suppose that's very true.